Everybody, welcome once again. Today I would like to talk to something really interesting, and that is how we communicate with God. We know who God is, and how do we communicate with God? I will tell you, I will share how I personally I'm communicating with God over the last days and what results I have had. So after I discover the passage that I mentioned in prior video, in which Elisha asked the presence of a minstrel before before the hand of the Lord came upon him, I started to consider that very important. So for instance, over the last 3 or 4 days, I've been sleeping with these very same recordings that I'm doing. I made a playlist and I play it at night when I go to sleep. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night, I play it again, and I happen to be having very interesting dreams. And as you know, God's favorite way to communicate with humans is through dreams. We've seen that in the beginning of the writings, the sacred scriptures. We've seen it like how Mary was told by an angel in a dream, and in many other occasions, it is through dreams that God communicates with us the best. The thing is that the language of the dream is a symbolic language. So the Bible has a lot of symbology, and we can develop a way to communicate with God using those symbols as well. Have you ever had that experience that with one very close friend or relative, that you sort of like communicate, you sort of like read your minds, each other minds, sort of like you use a certain word choice, certain expressions, certain tone in your voice, and you both know what you're talking about? Well, guess what? You can develop something like that when you communicate with God. For instance, using all the things that I've been reading in Kings, there is this passage where Elisha commands the three kings to dig holes, ditches on the valley. They don't know why they are digging those ditches for, right? So when I find myself doing something that I know I have to do, and I don't know which outcome that will have, then I say, yeah, Lord, I'm digging my ditches, Lord. I'm digging my ditches. I know those ditches will be filled with something, might be water, something, but I don't know what others will see in those ditches. See, like a video, making a video is like digging a ditch. I'm digging a ditch. It might be filled with visits, with people who see it in a different way, who knows? I don't know how people will see those videos, but I dig the ditches, I do what the Lord told me to do. So when I said the ditches, God knows what I'm talking about. He knows I'm talking about those passages. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. So I also started calling my desires, my witches, I started calling them Moabites. And I imagine that the Moabites will be delivered to me, and that they'll be lying down in front of me, and I can pick and choose which of those I will keep. And I talk to God like that. I say, yeah, Lord, I know my Moabites, I can see them in front of me. So I'm talking to God in that manner. So today, the last 2 nights, I have very interesting dreams. In one of those dreams, I had wings, and I was learning how to use my wings. There was a guy next to me, he was teaching me how to use the wings. We were talking about, imagine the kind of talk you have with somebody who has a motorcycle just like yours. And then the other guy says like, yeah, well, I amplify these, I don't know much about motorcycles, but I did this improvement, you know, I tuned this that way so that it sounds better or accelerates better or whatever. So we were talking about that in terms of our wings, our angel wings, because we didn't use the word angel, but I assume that humans with wings that can fly, it must be an angel, right? So the guy was telling me that he even underwent some surgery in his clavicle to make it stronger. And he was showing me, yeah, but you keep on practicing, you know, he was telling me, and I hardly concentrated in the dream, and I was able to take off and fly it for a while. So that was one. And then the next night I dreamt I was lying on the top of a car, face up, staring at the sky, and I saw huge airplanes, but they were not like regular flight commercial airplanes. They were really huge airplanes, like the Concorde, NASA airplanes, the kind of airplanes, actually they were more like a rockets or warplanes. The kind of planes that can go to the moon, like the Concorde. I remember the Concorde, but this one was black. There was another white one. And that was like the most relevant part of the dream. So I woke up and I went online and searched for the symbology involved in having wings, flying, and seeing airplanes. And it all says literally the same thing. It's talking about success, it's talking about overcoming obstacles, and it's talking about finding new freedom and entering a higher level of consciousness and awareness. So both dreams point out to the same thing. So thinking about Elisha and the time when he called for a minstrel to play some instrument. So I did the same again. I said, Lord, give me some word. I want to, you know, like some reassurance. And I started playing the guitar for a couple of minutes. And then I opened the Bible. And here's where I landed. And this is second book of Kings, chapter 7, verse 2. Then a Lord on whose hand the king leaned answered the man of God and said, Behold, if the Lord will make windows in heaven, may this thing be? And he said, Behold, you shall see it with thine eyes, but shall not eat thereof. So maybe in the next video I will read the whole chapter, but now I will try to place you in context of what it is, what the Lord is telling me. And